It's time to call the sheriffs.
My name's Mr. Griggs, my colleague and I are enforcement agents.
I'm here to issue a High Court writ.
I've got to do what I'm instructed to by the court.
They're enforcement agents of the High Court. And if a court's ruled in your favour, they're on your side. If the debtor doesn't want to pay,
You currently owe £9,461.80.
the law says the sheriffs can get you what you're owed.
If you don't come to the door, you have to remove the vehicle off the drive.
You'll have a week to pay in full before it gets sold at auction.
Whether it's a small company
Can I speak to the person in charge, please?
or a household name,
We're here to see somebody from G4S.
if they owe you money, the sheriffs get it paid.
I'm not going anywhere. You get him to come in here.
We're not going to be waiting around like that. It needs to be done now. It's collected 42 grand.
Coming up, Sweecruty Sony was left more than £1,000 out of pocket after being denied a refund by a dress shop.
That's like near enough a month's wages for me, so it's a lot of money, and I was, really, really annoyed.
When Ken goes to meet the boss, it all kicks off.
God punish you. Right. All your dresses are now on the floor, okay?
Turn my back on the debtor and the debtor has just punched me in the head.
A landlord owes money to a former tenant after hanging on to some of their goods. Lawrence and Kev go to collect. But will they find him?
Quite a bit of post there for him.
Hold up.
Hello, sir.
A Soho restaurant hasn't settled a bill for its cleaning. But do they have the money to pay?
If you're telling me you can't pay it today, that's what you're telling me. But it's not obvious to me that you can't pay it today.
And the sheriffs visit a car dealer's on behalf of a customer.
You the governor by any chance?
But the story isn't as straightforward as it seems.
The car has been returned, but it's got 8,000 miles on it, more than when they sold it.
This morning, Sheriff Ken Warby is in his home patch in North London. He's heading to Hendon to visit a clothing business with an unpaid debt.
We're going to visit a high street dress shop. The claimant is an individual.
The shop is called Beautiful Dresses and is not to be confused with any other company of a similar name. It was taken to court by customer Sweecruty Sony, a child carer and mum with an eye for a bit of sparkle. She came across the shop when she was looking for something special to wear for some important social occasions.
I had a friend's christening coming up and a friend's wedding coming up, both best friends of mine, and I wanted, to make the effort, so I wanted to get something nice. So I went on the internet, I found a company called Beautiful Dresses.
It seemed to be just what she was looking for.
They were lovely, they were gorgeous dresses. They were like embellished, nice dresses, which I love, and you can't just get them in like an everyday to-day shop, really. So I thought I'd order from them.
In fact, she ordered 3, telling the store owner that she planned to return one once she tried them on. They didn't come cheap.
The dresses were over £1,000 for 3 dresses. They were about £300 each, just over £300 each.
The owner of Beautiful Dresses requested that she paid by bank transfer. As Sweecruty's events were coming up soon, she paid extra for next-day delivery.
And she didn't send them next-day delivery. Over a week I was waiting.
With the events rapidly approaching, Sweecruty decided to cancel and had to go last-minute shopping for some replacement outfits.
It was a panic to get it all done, which was I was fretting as well as having at the back of my mind about this money, trying to get this money back, as well as trying to find 2 different outfits. So it was a lot of stress.
She managed to buy the clothes she needed, but when it came to cancelling her order with Beautiful Dresses, that was a different story.
When I asked to cancel them, she just refused to cancel them and sent me them anyway, even though the christening and the wedding had both gone.
In fact, only 2 of the 3 dresses she had paid for ever arrived, and they were the wrong size.
So I was obviously really upset, and I was, really, really annoyed.
The shop initially agreed to take the dresses back, so Sweecruty put them in the post. But getting the refund she'd been promised turned out not to be that simple. First, the owner claimed she'd never received them, but then appeared to back down.
At one point, she did say, "Give me your bank details and I'll put the money in." Then nothing. I constantly rang her, she put the phone down on me. That's like near enough a month's wages for me, so it's a lot of money to be spending for her not to send me the money back.
In the end, Swikruti had no choice but to take further action.
I went to Citizens Advice, who recommended money claim.
Swikruti used money claims online to file a case in the county courts. Beautiful Dresses didn't defend it, so Swikruti won a judgment in her favour. But she's still not got her money back and has turned to the sheriffs.
It's definitely my last hope, otherwise the money's just gone. There's nothing I can do about it. The money's just gone.
In London, Ken's approaching the shop and is determined to get that money back for her.
I'm assuming that there's going to be stock in the shop, proper dress shop. There should be enough in there for me to get payment in full, I'd say. Yeah, I'm pretty confident before I even get there.
Ken's confidence seems justified as he enters the shop. There's clearly value on the rails here.
Hello, my name's Mr. Warby. Are you the owner of the shop?
No, I'm not.
Is the owner around?
She isn't, but the staff member calls her on speakerphone.
Is it Lily?
Lillian.
That's the name I've got down here.
Yeah.
The boss, Lillian Chidoka, isn't picking up.
You hang up, let me have a go. Never know.
The staff member says her shift ends after lunch, and whether or not they can reach her, Lillian should be arriving later.
She's not due here for another hour and a half when she's due to take over from this lady, so we're just going to have to wait.
In the meantime, Ken starts looking through the shop's assets. They're certainly not cheap.
£1,200, £550, £420. Excuse me, madam.
High value, easily removable goods are ideal for the sheriffs. Ken's in a strong position to demand full payment.
All good quality dresses. There's a good couple of dozen of them as well. So, yeah, all good gear.
The staff member, meanwhile, has got the boss on the phone.
Hello. I'm here because we have a judgment against Beautiful Dresses from Swikruti Soni. Our company sent a notice of enforcement to this address on the 10th of March. Because we haven't had a response from you, I'm here now to collect in full, and the total I'm looking to collect is £1,658.08.
Lillian Chidoka says she hasn't got the money to pay.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. If you haven't got it, I'm going to have to list the items in the shop and remove them. That is the normal procedure, yes.
The boss tells him that he can't remove her goods. Ken is entitled to, but doesn't need to if he can secure a reasonable payment plan.
Can I just ask you a question? How much do you have to pay now? If we have to make the phone call and get goods removed, then obviously the costs are going to go up, and that's what we need to try and avoid. What do you have now?
She says she won't make a part payment of anything. There doesn't seem much chance of a negotiation on the phone, so Ken lets her know where he stands.
What I'll do is I'm going to wait here until 1 o'clock for you to turn up. However, I am going to require full payment now, OK? I'm not walking out of here without this payment or removal of goods. So that's what you need to sort out. I'm sorry I can't help you, but we do require payment in full. So what I would suggest you do is get payment in full and meet me here at 1 o'clock. Otherwise, I'll be listing items and we'll be removing them.
She seems convinced that isn't going to happen.
We can remove goods. Yes, first visit, we can remove goods. Thank you.
It hasn't been a very encouraging conversation.
What she's saying is she wants to go into an arrangement with me. She has nothing at all to pay me today. That's not good enough. We've got goods in the shop that will fetch the value of the debt. So I'm going to start listing the items here. She's not due in the shop for another hour. and by the time she gets here, if she hasn't got the payment, then goods listed will be removed.
Later, we find out what happens when Ken gets to meet the boss.
I don't want you here.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
If you've been ripped off and the person or company responsible refuses to pay you back, the first step is to make a claim in the county court. It's simple to do this online, for a small fee depending on the size of the claim. The court will review the evidence, and if it finds in your favour, the debtor will be ordered to pay up. If they don't, then for a further £60, the High Court will grant a writ, authorising the sheriffs to act on your behalf. If they're successful, you get all your money back. Disputes between landlords and tenants are an all too common occurrence. This morning, Sheriffs Kev McNally and Lawrence Grix are about to enforce a case where a disagreement over a property ended up being decided by the courts.
10 o'clock in the morning, Romford we're heading to. We're going to go and find Dr. Sumyo Gorai.
Dr. Gorai was taken to court by a former tenant who claims they were unfairly evicted from the property.
And according to the information we have, he proceeded to rent the property out to someone else with all our clients' property and personal belongings still in there.
The tenant claims they never got their stuff back and took the case to court to recover their costs. They won a default judgment in their favour for £5,000, some of which has now been paid. But Kevin Lawrence are here for the rest.
He owes £1,670.
The sheriffs are arriving at what they believe is Dr. Gorai's home address, and they've spotted a black BMW they think is his.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
The sheriffs have already done checks on a license plate number they've been supplied to confirm the BMW was free from finance and so could be removed. But there's a problem.
Oh, they've got it slightly wrong.
We were given the wrong number, were we?
One of the digits is different from what the sheriffs have been told.
Right, so we haven't got a result on it then, have we?
That means they don't know whether this car is clear of finance after all. Lawrence heads to the house to see if the doctor is home. They try the bell, but there's no answer. Lawrence looks for any sign of life. Anything in the letterbox that could confirm that he lives here.
There we go, there's one for him.
It's addressed here, is it?
And another one. And another one. And another one. Yeah.
So the sheriffs are in the right place. But is the debtor here today? With barbed wire on top of the wall, they won't be climbing over. While Lawrence takes a closer look at the car, Kev tries the neighbours.
I wonder if you could help me. Do you know if it's Dr. Gorai living next door?
But they don't seem to know.
All right, no worries.
It looks like this could be a wasted trip.
Just had to leave paperwork. It's unfortunate that we were given the wrong registration for the vehicle. It wouldn't have mattered whether they were in or not. We'd have taken the car. So we'll have to hope now that either he gets in touch and pays, or the car's still here when we come back if he doesn't get in touch.
Hold up.
But I have my suspicions about that.
But just as hope of getting the debt paid is fading, a car pulls into the drive. It's Dr. Gorai. Once he's stepped out of the car, Lawrence takes the opportunity to acquire his car keys. It won't be worth as much as the BMW, but it's something.
My name's Mr. Grix, my colleague and I are enforcement agents. We're here today with a High Court writ. The total outstanding is £1,670.16.
Yes.
We're ordered here today by the High Court to take control of goods to clear that debt,
Or we can,
unless you pay in full.
Yeah, I can pay in full. If you give me an account detail, I will transfer it straight away.
Okay.
Dr. Gorai has immediately offered to settle the bill. So why didn't he pay earlier?
Your letters don't give us any account details.
No, but it gives you details of how you can get in touch with us to make the payment, doesn't it?
But without account details, how can I make a payment?
Right, well, that's something you need to take up with the Ministry of Justice, sir, because the forms are prescribed forms by the Ministry of Justice. Yeah.
And Lawrence is happy to provide all the details Dr. Garai needs.
It's that sort code, that account number. It needs to be done as an immediate payment. If you do that, then I'll check with my office, and providing the money's gone into the account, we'll issue you a receipt, you can have your keys back, and we'll be on our way.
Without my keys, I can't get into my property.
That's a car key, sir.
My house key is in the boot of the car.
Lawrence doesn't want to give the car keys back, but opens the boot for him. Dr. Garai unlocks the house and starts to get some things from the car. But he's left the front door open, so Kev steps in, closely followed by Lawrence.
Would you wait outside?
No, my colleague's already inside, sir. We'll come in while you make the payment.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that what you...
The sheriffs are legally allowed to walk through an open door into a residential premises. Once inside, they can't be told to leave. But 10 minutes later, the sheriffs are back out of their own accord, with their every move filmed by the debtor, who's also willing to volunteer his side of the story.
This was regarding a tenant of mine who stayed in my property for 7 months without paying rent, trashed my property, kept a snake in the property, kept rats in the property, completely trashed my garden.
Dr. Garai claims the tenants left of their own accord when he chased them for the rent.
Then I used my keys to get into the property, and there were some goods left in the property. When we changed the locks for the front door, they then went to the court and tried to get money back for the £5,000 of goods that they thought that I had stolen from them, which we had kept for them for some time, but they didn't come to collect it. And when they didn't come to collect it, we had to dispose of goods because we didn't want to touch their goods.
But the court ruled in the tenants' favour and ordered Dr. Garai to pay them £5,000, which he hasn't done. Dr. Garai admits he received a demand for payment from the sheriffs, but didn't think he'd been given enough information.
There was no bank account, there was no address to where the payment had to be made, there was just a telephone number, and our experience of telephone numbers is very bad, as he gave me the details today, and I paid within 10 minutes.
It's a much better outcome than the sheriffs anticipated.
That went very well. We were basically about to leave because we couldn't get an answer, but he did pay fairly quickly. He was a bit awkward, as some people tend to be. We showed him ID when he pulled up on his driveway, but then he was wanting to see it again. I didn't want to sign the receipt either. It doesn't matter to us, we've got the payment. So, job done.
And that means the tenant whose property went missing will get the money the court said they were owed. Back in North London, Ken's in a shop in Hendon called Beautiful Dresses. He's spoken to the owner, who told him she isn't going to pay the £1,658 owed to her former customer, Swikruti Sony. While he waits for her to arrive, he's checking out what's available if he needs to take control of goods.
Well, I'm struggling between pink, cerise, beige and salmon, but we get in there. I used to work in a paint shop, so I know a range of colours.
A skill he's keen to demonstrate.
We get in there, Arsenal red. A nice turquoise one for a change. Where was I? In the middle of the turquoise red and the plum.
But he's not quite so au fait with the specifics of ladies' fashion.
What would you call that?
Sorry?
That's not a dress. What would you call it?
It's not a dress, it's just a top. It's like a cape.
Cape.
A top cape, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Cape. Around about 35, 40 dresses, ranging retail price from £1,200 to £350.
As they won't fetch anything like that at auction, Ken is listing enough of them to guarantee they'd raise a sum which would cover the full debt. He's hoping it won't come to that, and the shop will make an offer of payment instead.
To see what the lady can come up with when she turns up. She previously told me she had no money, so that's not good. Hopefully we'll get it resolved.
Ken's been in the shop for a little over an hour when the boss arrives.
Hello.
She immediately asks our camera to leave, and the shutters come down. Inside, Ken explains he really is going to remove her dresses if she can't come up with some money. She doesn't think he can.
Please, can you come in?
And invites us back in to explain.
What he's trying to do is to remove goods first visit. He's not supposed to remove goods first visit. It's never done. That's what he's trying to do.
In fact, enforcement agents are entitled to remove goods on a first visit. The debtor didn't make an arrangement within the 7 days after the notice of enforcement. So now it's down to the sheriff's discretion to decide the best course of action to get their claimant's money back. Ken, meanwhile, has made the mistake of nipping out to his car. Ms. Chidoka tries to shut him out.
Knocking me out.
Call the police first.
With Ken back safely inside the shop, Lillian continues.
You make an arrangement, okay? And then if you breach the arrangement, you come back the first time. If you breach the arrangement, you come back second time. If the third time, that's when you remove goods. He doesn't know his job. Film him. Look at him. He doesn't know what he's doing. You don't remove goods first visit. You don't. It's never done. All he wants is these beautiful dresses to give it to his girlfriends and his wives or whoever he has.
But Ken isn't on the phone to one of his wives or girlfriends.
I'm executing a High Court writ of control at a shop. I just need a police officer here to prevent the breach of the peace.
The woman is already agitated, and Ken doesn't want to see the situation deteriorate further.
They will be here within the hour. They are going to turn up here just to prevent the breach of the peace, so that I'm able to remove these dresses myself.
Until they come, I'm not allowing you to remove anything. I'm waiting for the police.
I understand that. That's fine.
If you know your job, you would have left ages ago.
Convinced she's right, the shop owner has decided to start filming herself.
I warn you. The third time, that's when they'll remove goods. They're here for the first time, and he's planning to remove goods. It's never done. It's against the law. I watched, what do you call that program again?
The Sheriff's Coming.
Sheriff's Coming. I watch it too. And what the bailiffs normally say, okay, they list the items, I make an arrangement with the debtor. I'm putting this on YouTube. I'll send a copy to BBC, and I'll send a copy to David Cameron's office.
Once again, Ken's taken the opportunity to pop out to his car to pick up some more paperwork. The shop owner thinks she sees a second chance to lock him out.
I don't want you here.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
What will you do? I don't want you here. You have to leave.
Ms. Chidoka has no right to lock Ken out of the shop, and it's an arrestable offence to obstruct him in his work. With the atmosphere fragile, he's now just waiting for the police. Later, we see what happens when they arrive.
You've just assaulted him in front of 2 police officers. All your dresses are now on the floor, okay?
Elsewhere in the capital, Lawrence and Kev are heading into the heart of the West End. They're on their way to a job that's going to turn out trickier than expected.
We're in the middle of the town today, going into Soho. We're actually going to Soho Restaurants Limited, and it is a restaurant we're going to. They owe £5,259 for cleaning services that have been provided to the restaurant that haven't been paid for.
To recover the money it's owed, the cleaning company has taken the restaurant to court and won a default judgment when the case wasn't defended. The sheriffs are eager to try to get it paid, and the snail-paced traffic en route to the job is trying their patience.
Absolutely abysmal. I detest driving in central London.
I've been sitting in the van for so long now and not getting anywhere. It does take its toll.
It's only there.
It doesn't help that when they finally approach their destination, Lawrence misses the turning.
Oh dear.
When did I say 22, 24?
Eventually, they pull into the right road.
Parking suspended.
You can't park here, but...
Is that one on the corner?
Oh yeah, I'll just wait here. Because we're not getting a ticket as well as sitting in traffic all day.
No, that's it.
After complaining about sitting in the van for the last 2 hours, Kebs helpfully volunteered to stay put. The company they're looking for is based at a restaurant called Maison Toureg. Lawrence makes his introductions.
Hello there. Hi. I'll show you some ID. My name's Mr. Grix.
Yeah.
I'm an enforcement agent.
Yeah.
Are you the boss at all?
No, not the boss.
Are you able to get him on the phone?
What was he regarding?
I'm here with a High Court writ. I'll explain it to your boss on the phone.
Moments later, the staff member returns with the phone, and Lawrence gets straight to the point.
Hello, sir. I'm here today with the High Court writ against Soho Restaurants Limited. I'm ordered to take control of goods to the value of £5,259.51.
But he's not expecting the boss's response.
Right.
The boss says he owes thousands for unpaid business rates. Another debt collection company has already executed a writ and taken control of all the goods here. It would be one of the more inventive excuses Lawrence has heard if it's not true, but he needs to make sure.
Right, have you got a copy of that here? As it stands at the moment, unless I see copies of this paperwork, then I'm going to take control of the goods.
The man says it's obvious he can't pay. Lawrence isn't so sure.
If you're telling me you can't pay it today, that's what you're telling me. But it's not obvious to me that you can't pay it today.
If the goods have already been taken into control by someone else, Lawrence can't touch them. That means he won't have much leverage to get the debt paid. And he might have to walk out empty-handed. While the staff member goes to see if he can find the paperwork, Lawrence makes some inquiries of his own.
I'm going to make a phone call.
The world of High Court enforcement is a small one, and Lawrence knows just about everyone in the business.
All right, Dave, how are you? I was just phoning, so I think I'm on your patch.
The other agent confirms his company's already been to the restaurant, just as the staff member brings through the paperwork. Lawrence can only hope they've left something valuable off the list.
Right, okay. He basically lists everything that's in here, all the tables, chairs, cookers, fridges, everything really. So nothing left for me, unfortunately, on this occasion.
Lawrence gets back on the phone to the restaurant's boss.
Right, I've seen all the paperwork. So what I'll do, I'll leave paperwork here with the amount that's owing and contact details for me and an email address for the office.
He's hoping that the boss will come to an arrangement to pay at least something.
Give me a buzz with how much you want to pay.
But he's not optimistic.
Thank you. Bye-bye. There you go.
And with good reason.
The outstanding debt on the other one for business rates is enormous compared to ours, so obviously he's paying that off. He wants to pay ours off, so I've left paperwork there, and he said he'll give me a ring later today with what he proposes to pay. But unfortunately, with no goods to take control of, your hands are tied.
The restaurant boss didn't enter into a payment agreement later that day. And to date, the debt with the cleaning company has not been settled. Sheriffs are now officially known as High Court enforcement agents, and they'll collect the money you're owed.
My job is to collect in full or remove goods.
They've got more powers of entry than bailiffs.
We don't have to take any notice of your security protocol, I'm afraid.
And there's no limit on the size of the debts they can pursue.
£1.6 million.
Every year, sheriffs enforce more than